is Meister Eckhart with James Finley.
My name is James Finley, and I'll begin by welcoming you to these reflections on the teachings of the Christian mystic Meister Eckhart. I realize that some of you listening to these reflections are already very familiar with Eckhart. In fact, you've perhaps been sitting with Eckhart and praying with Eckhart and meditating with Eckhart for quite some time, such that he has become for you one of your spiritual teachers or one of your guides on the spiritual path. I realize too that there are more of you who are somewhat familiar but not quite so familiar with Eckhart, and some of you who are very completely new to Eckhart. You've not yet had the opportunity to turn towards his teachings to see how they might help you in following your spiritual path. And so in sharing these reflections, I want to make Eckhart's teachings as inviting and as accessible as possible to the sincere beginner. And I want to do that in a way that does not water down or compromise the radicality of his teachings. These reflections are not at all a course in Meister Eckhart. This is not an academic approach to the theological, philosophical themes in his teachings. We'll be looking at some of that and the way he spoke metaphysically and theologically to express spiritual awakenings. But this is much more a retreat with Meister Eckhart. That is, it's much more an attempt to turn towards Meister Eckhart for spiritual guidance. In the spirit of an introduction, I'll begin with a brief biographical sketch of Meister Eckhart, a sense of who Meister Eckhart was historically, which can begin to give us insight into who Meister Eckhart is spiritually. Meister Eckhart was born in Germany in the year 1260. As a young man, he entered the Dominican order, in which he was ordained a priest, and in which he took vows in poverty, chastity, and obedience in religious life, expressing his commitment to holiness and to service to others. He served in his Dominican order in various administrative capacities and in capacities of offering spiritual guidance to members of the community. And he also served in the twofold charism of the Dominican order. The charism being first to serve through a commitment to learning, to teaching sound theology, kind of the intellectual heritage of the Christian tradition.